What's up, man?
What's happening?
Oh, nothing. Thanks for coming to be a part of the podcast.
Man, like I said, appreciate it, man.
Oh, no problem. So we're in very first season and episode 4. So this will be episode 4. So just welcome. So it's just we came up with this platform to kind of give inspiration to people that been going through something, or that may have lost their jobs or rediscovered passions during the pandemic because they had time.
Nice.
So it was just a platform for people to share their stories about how they make a living with their passion and how it's possible, and how it's important to always believe in yourself and to bet on yourself, and that on the other side of that there could be a big success story and blessings that follow. So that's just,
this is Ramon. This is Ramon, the man, the myth, the legend.
Oh, yeah. That's my cousin Aaron. He's the one I was telling you about, Ramon.
That's the Hollywood cousin right there.
Yeah. So yeah, he's the man. Helping me with this show and everything like that. So I told him about you probably a while ago, at least a few weeks ago. And then he was asking me like, oh, like how'd you meet him? I was like, oh, stand in line for some vegan tacos. which were fire, by the way.
They were really good.
Yeah, and I've had, well, not to get off subject, but I've had those like 3-4 times since.
Oh man, hey, you gotta hit me up. Let me know where they're at, because I need to go get them.
So they're called Swabs. Shout out to Swabs. So actually getting the spot here, but so they do their family friends of like my wife's family. So they like cater, they like do the events. They do like the birthday parties, for my nephews and stuff like that. So we've actually run into them a few times since and have had the food.
Nice.
It's amazing.
Bomb.
Yeah, no, they were really good. But no, man, but thanks for taking the time out and for joining us today and being willing, to kind of share your journey from when you started to where you're at now. So I mean, the first thing I want to get into is how did this all start? How did photography and film, where did that passion come from? Just from the beginning, just kind of take us through that.
Well, a lot don't know. I actually have my degree in computer graphics, so web design and graphic design. Mm-hmm. Did that when the .coms were booming, and when I say .coms, when to the young people, they're like, huh?
Right.
When the .coms were booming, that's when I was booming. I got to be an art director. Worked at Capcom video game company, senior graphic designer.
Oh, nice.
Street Fighter.
Yep. Did it, did some really wonderful things. And then when the .com started falling down is when I started getting laid off. And that was rough, man. That was kind of like, whew,
and that's similar to what we've been dealing with the last, year or two. Same type of stories and what's been happening to people as far as their jobs and stuff.
Yep. One thing I'll share though that was embedded in me when I was 20, I was 22 at the time, an old art director of mine. Shout out to Ashley Hall, man. He told me, he sat me down in the office one day. He said, Ramon, sit down. I said, am I in trouble? He said, no. I said, okay, I'll sit down.
Right.
He goes, never let your pride get in the way. Mm-hmm. And I sat there and I was like, okay, I'm 22 years old at the time. I was like, what is he talking about? He said, look at me. He said, I've been an airplane pilot, wrote songs for Shaka Khan, art director, Universal Studios. He goes, and now I'm here. And I'm like, you wrote songs for Shaka Khan? I'm like, what?
Right.
And he told me that, right? And the reason why I bring that up is that has instilled into me now. Mm-hmm. I did let my pride get in the way. When I was 23 years old, right at that time, I was 23, turned 24. I got laid off. I became an art director. Mm-hmm. I was making $75,000 a year, 24 years old, right? My pride was.
Oh, absolutely. I know exactly how that feels.
Back then, that's good too. I mean, not that it's not terrible, but we're in expensive places right now. So
exactly. Yeah. Right. And so making that money, got laid off. And I said, man, I don't need unemployment. Unemployment. Why do I need unemployment? I can get a job tomorrow if I want. My pride, right?
Yeah.
And a month went by. I didn't call unemployment. Didn't sign for unemployment. I was like, I don't need that. That's for other people. That ain't for me. Pride, right? And so, long story short, man, it went on for about 4 months. I became I worked for the third largest telecommunications company called France Telecom. I was the UI designer at the time. And I was working with all the engineers. I was doing the graphics in the front end and giving it to them. They'd implement it into the GUI. The day that I got laid off from there but then I made 6 figures now. So, right? I'm
24.
Even more.
25, making 6 figures. That's some good money back then, right?
Sure.
I got laid off. The moment I got laid off, what actually told me, stuck in my head, I was like, never let your pride get in the way. I said, man, I called unemployment right then and there. I was like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Got unemployment, had to do what I had to do, And then after that, I started working. I was always into photography, right? And it was always like a passion of mine. I was into, and it was another art form to me.
Absolutely.
And so then Best Buy opened up. And I didn't have a job, and it was in Union City, and I went in there and I said, showed them my resume, and they were like, we can't ask this, but they did ask it, and they said, how much did you make your last job? And I told them, and I said, look, I could sell. I go, you give me a job, I'm gonna show you what I can do. I said, anything can look good on a resume, but let me show you what I can do. She hired me on spot, so I was like, okay, cool. So a month goes in, and they said, hey, Ramon, how do you feel about being a manager? And I said, what department? And they said, digital imaging. I went, oh. And I'll never forget this. I told them, I said, you're not ready. And they said, what do you mean we're not ready? I go, you'll see.
Right.
They know I had a camera background.
Exactly.
So I went in there, I sold like there was no tomorrow, man. I outsold every Best Buy. In 1 month that I was the manager, I outsold every Best Buy in the district. And they were like, wow, what are you doing? And I said, I'm creating rapport with people. And that goes to now, everybody's like, well, how do you, how'd you get this and how'd you get that? I go, man, it's you have to create rapport. You have to create relationships. And you have to be genuine at what you do, Yeah. It's, so 2005 is when I started photography.
Okay.
My wife bought me my first camera. We were in Best Buy and I didn't work there anymore. And she was like, do you want that? And I was like, yeah.
Right.
I said, I'm going to be a photographer. And I'll never forget, it was a Canon G9. I had every digital camera that you could think of. I had,
isn't that like a point and shoot? One of those lenses that come out. Yeah. Back when that was hip.
Yeah. Man, hey, I did my first photo shoot with Rashad Morgan from Grand Hustle Atlantic Records at the time with that camera.
No! That took some gumption.
Yeah.
I did stupid stuff like that too, but yeah.
I said, you know what? You got to work with the tools that you have.
Yeah, you do.
And me being a graphic designer, see, I had an up because I could shoot somebody with a 12 megapixel camera.
Yeah. Put
it in Photoshop, and they're like, man, what did you shoot that with the Canon? I'm like, nah, that was a Kodak point and shoot.
Right.
So that's how I started, man. That's where it all began, that day at Best Buy. And you know what? I wish I would have still had that camera. I sold that camera. And I wish I would have never did that because that was something special. Like my wife bought me, it got me into the photography,
Yeah, dude, I got a camera like that right now. It's a Sony, I don't remember what model, whatever, but it's one chip. When having a color video camera was kind of big, and they're charging you for whether it's 3 CCDs or 1 CCD. I had that 1 CCD. I bought that joker used for $1,200, and that was like a huge purchase for me.
Yeah. Oh man, that is true.
That's perfect though. That kind of
But I
like
still have it. That's the thing, because I just for that reason, like I can't seem to like. I'll probably never be able to turn it on again.
Yeah,
Have
but
it.
then it becomes a prop. It becomes a prop.
Yeah.
But it's a cool prop, you know?
It is.
So, and then 2008 is when I took it to a professional level.
okay.
Really started getting into it. You know, I remember a friend of mine, I got a Canon, right? I was a Canon shooter. And I remember a friend of mine, he got the same camera I did, right? We were like, not in competition with each other, but he was like, you get the 5D Mark II? I said, yep. He goes, so did I. I was like, this fool. And I, what you gonna shoot? You know, because we kind of had similar styles at the time. And I go, what are you gonna shoot? And he says, I'm gonna go the model route. I said, all right. I said, I'm gonna go the music industry route. And that's where I said, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. And all of a sudden, you know, this guy who's named R54 is like, what is he, a robot? R2D2's cousin? Like, what is he? You know, right? And so all of a sudden, people are saying, who's this R54 guy? Right? Because I'd be on stage. I was on stage with Wu-Tang, right? Wu-Tang had their own photographer, but I was still on stage with them. And the other photographers were in the pit. And everybody's like, who's this dude? And how come he ain't got no bracelet on? I didn't have a bracelet, no nothing, right?
Right.
Connections is when, again, it's the rapport that you have with people, right?
Yeah.
My boy called me, shout out to Montana. He hit me up. He said, Ramon, what you doing today? I said, nothing, what's up? He said, bring your camera. We're going to go see Snoop.
Dang.
I said, okay. He goes, no, really, bring your camera. We're going to go see Snoop. And I'm like, I said, how are we going to go? He said, Ramon, just go. I said, all right, got my camera, followed him, and we go into the Shoreline Amphitheater. We pull up, and he tells the security guard something, and I roll by, I roll down my window. He goes, you're good. And we park right next to Snoop's bus, and I'm like, oh, this is really happening.
Oh, wow. Was that like the first like eye-opening experience? So we were like, oh, this is for real now.
That was the first time. Prior to that, I was AP9 and Richie Rich's personal photographer.
Oh, wow. Bay Area legends right there.
Yeah. So I was their photographer, and then this was just kind of like a, you know, my boy called me and said, hey, come on. And so we park. The first person I meet is Snoop's road manager. And he was like, hey, what's up, Ramon? How you doing? Da-da-da. Nice to meet you. And we walk right in. We walk right in. I'm like, do I need a bracelet? You know, like, you know?
Right, right.
He's like, you good? You with Snoop? And I'm like, okay. And so I'm backstage in the green room area now. The first person I run into is Rakim. I was like,
dang.
That the night just kept getting better and better, right?
So you're starting to see all these people that, you know, are familiar and very recognizable, and like, you're like, wait, I'm here and I'm doing photography? That's wild.
Yeah. And then my thing was, how am I going to make myself different than other photographers? Because everybody nowadays, you got a camera, I got my cell phone, I'm a director, I'm a photographer. Like, oh, okay, I'm a chef. I don't know how to cook.
Yeah.
You know? And so I'm just like, wow, this is crazy. So I said, you know what? I'm going to get video shout outs. That was my goal that night. I'm going to get video shout outs. Not knowing who I was going to get, but I put that out there, right?
Right.
So I meet Snoop. Snoop's really cool. I start taking pictures of him on stage. And then you're only supposed to stay there for 3 songs, and then you got to bounce, right? In the pit. They was like, no, you don't have that role. Everybody else says you don't have that role. You could do whatever you want. And I was like, okay. They were like, if you want to take video, whatever you want, you could do. I took video. Everybody's like, how's this guy taking video? They told us we can't take video. I was like, I'm with Snoop.
Right.
I'm with him. I got the t-shirt.
So how long? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, so then, you know, so the concerts ended. I'm in the green room area now. and I go up to into Snoop's room, and I know Daz and Corrupt because I did some stuff for them before, and I know Warren G. So that was kind of like a good end, you know, where when I walked in, but I had to show Snoop the money shot. There was one shot that particularly that I was like, this is the money shot. So I filtered to it real quick. I said, hey, Snoop, I said, check this out. And I showed him the money shot that I thought that was a money shot. And he was like, he's like, hey, man. He's all, come here, man. He around me, right? Man. We walk in the green room. I was like, hey, what's up, Daz? What's up, Corrupt? What's up, Warren? They're like, hey, what's up, R? And he was like, y'all know? And I was like, oh, yeah, I know them. He's like, oh, okay. He's like, hey, man. He's like, come here. I want you to take a special picture. And I'm like, I'm thinking, oh, my God, Dr. Dre's here?
Right. Right.
That's what I was thinking, right? And I was like, and I'm wondering who's going to come out, right? His wife comes out. He says, I want you to meet my wife. He's all, can you take a picture of us? I said, wow. Of course. Took a picture of them, turned it around, and they said, oh, man, God bless you, man. Thank you so much. I was like, man, thank you. Like, this is, you know. I said, hey, Snoop, can I ask you something? He goes, yeah, what's up, nephew? I was like, can you give me a shout out on video? He said, man, turn on your camera. I got you. I was like,
dang, that's huge.
Yeah, it is. So back in DVD magazine days. Remember those? DVD magazines? Free internet, basically.
Yeah, right? So he gives me a shout out. Then I'm in Wu-Tang's dressing room, right? And I had this one guy, he's watching me, right? And he's like, how the hell this dude it's the only dude up in here. There's a bunch of girls in there, but I'm the only guy in there talking to everybody, right?
Right.
And the first person I talked to is Ghostface. So I'm chopping it up with Ghostface. And then he was like, he told me, hey, let me give you a shout out. I said, for real? So he gave me a shout out on video.
Look at that.
Dang.
And then it was Method Man leaves right off after their set. He's gone. He's like, I'm out. He doesn't really associate, right? I met ODB's son. He was cool. And then three other members of the Wu-Tang gave me shout outs. And then DJ Symphony, that's the dude that was like watching me. And he came up to me, he said, man, I don't know who you are. He said, but Wu-Tang don't let nobody in this in this dressing room, man. He goes, so you must be somebody. And I was like, nah, I just love what I do. That's all.
Right. So would you say like all of these instances and being able to meet these people through your passion was because building that rapport with people beforehand, and these artists and these people looking at your photos can see the quality and the authenticity in the photos as well, like kind of what I mentioned to you before when we were on the phone. Would you say that that's the reason, that's how you stood out from others?
I would say, yeah, that was the reason. But not only that, you know, first and foremost, that man upstairs, man, he opened the door once he opened that door, I was like, oh, it's on. Yeah, absolutely. That was just a blessing to me. That same night, Lady of Rage gave me a shout out. I got Digital Underground, Shock G, Humpty giving me a shout out. Wow. You know, rest in peace, Shock. You know, I mean, this was something, it was kind of surreal. Like, did that just happen? You know, I still think like it's a trip, like the people that I know, and I'm like, wow, it's really, it's neat. You know? Absolutely.
And then you started this professionally in 2008, and just having the passion for it and then the will to make it work just opened up all these doors for you. It sounds like just the belief in yourself, you know, like you said, the man upstairs, and then the belief and the faith that you can make it happen. It seemed like everything just kind of took off.
Yeah, but then, you know, there's those times that the people that what they don't want to talk about, they want to talk about the success, but they don't want to talk about the failures. Right. They don't want to talk about how hard it is. Like after I did, a director called me and said, hey, Ramon, I need you, man. I love your energy, this and that. Right. And I knew this director for a long time. And I met a lot of famous people through this director. But he always wanted me on set because he knew, you know, he knew I was gonna like if somebody was in a bad mood, I was gonna make sure they're in a good mood, right?
Sure.
And so it was with Dub C, Ice Cube, and Young Melee. And I was like, what's the budget? And, you know, here we go. Oh, well, the budget, this and that, right? And I'm like, here we go.
Yeah, Aaron knows.
No.
Right? You know about this one. You know about this, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a good look for your portfolio.
Yeah.
so I called my wife and I'm like, babe, I got an opportunity to go meet Ice Cube and Dub C. And she's like, really? And I'm like, yeah. I said, but I got to go down to LA. She goes, well, make it happen. And again, that's that man upstairs. All of a sudden, I'm doing a photo shoot that day. And this lady's overhearing me. And she turns, she goes, Ramon. And I go, hey, it's like this old family friend, right? She goes, I was hearing what you were saying. She goes, and you might not go, you have an opportunity with Ice Cube? And I was like, yeah. She goes, I work at the airlines. Hold on. She went back, came back, because she worked 2 jobs, right? She worked at the airline and she worked at the time it was the W. And she went back, she came back, she goes, here's your itinerary. And I'm like, what? She got me a plane flight.
Are you serious? Wow.
She goes, and I was like, okay, if that's not a sign, I don't know what is.
Oh, for sure.
I'm gonna be honest. While you've been talking, I've been sitting here thinking about. We've probably heard this before. When opportunity meets preparation, we often call that luck. But yo, in this case, you win this flight itinerary. That was luck.
right. I had to pay her. She goes, just give me $80, and I was like, here.
Yeah, take it.
I land in LA. The director picks me up, and they're like, Ramon, this is the song. Listen to the song. And I'm like, okay, dope song, right? So we get there, and I'm like, man, I'm about to meet Dub, Cube, like, Young Melee, what? You know? And so I get introduced to Cube. So my whole thing, when I got the airplane ticket, I said, okay, guys, I said, all I want a shout out. I want a shout out. That's what I want. I want a video. And I kept saying it. I want a video shout out. At the end of that video, I got my video shout out from Ice Cube.
Wow.
I got it from Dub C, DJ Crazy Tunes, rest in peace, and Young Melee.
Wow.
All of them gave me a shout out.
So now you have like this database or like this collection of shout outs from very notable people. So what did that do for your business? Like after you're able to get those and kind of promote yourself that way.
That, you know what?
Look at that smile. That says it right there. You're like,
well, it was good and it was bad.
Yeah.
It was a catch-22 now.
Yeah.
Because everybody went on my Instagram or at the time my website, right? They went and they said, man, we love your work, but we can't afford you. And I was like, or you're busy. And I'm like, oh, hold up. Are you my manager? Do you know my schedule? Like, call me, you know? And so that was the part that I was kind of like, wow, okay, God, you got me all this. Now it's even harder. And again, because I love working with everybody, right? Well, let me take a step back. In the entertainment industry, I'm picky.
Right.
So when it comes to music, when it comes to comedians, when it comes to, all that type of industry, I'm very picky on who I work with. Families and everything else, though, I love doing that. That I'm not picky on that, right?
Right.
And I work with people's budgets. So that's the thing. Like, you tell me, hey, this is my budget. I'm like, okay, hey, this is what I could do for you, Because like what we talked about earlier was I don't chase money.
Yeah, and that's very important for the people out there to understand and listen to, because when you're passionate about something, sometimes these things just happen, naturally with like Aaron said, with your preparation and your hard work, and then you get that opportunity and you're ready to do something with it.
Yeah, and when you chase the money, you forget about the passion, and it becomes a job. And I don't want it to be a job. I don't ever. I mean, like I have my freaking gimbal right here. I'm ready. I'm charged up, ready. If somebody called me right now, was like, Ramon,
You're ready to go.
to shoot, I'm like, man, let's go. You know?
Right. So did you start off, like, what was like the very first, I guess, not project, but just the very first thing you did? Was it, because I've seen your work, I've seen you do, you know, the music videos, the photo shoots, but then I've seen you, you know, with families as well, like family photo shoots, and then like at corporate events, which I met you at.
That's how we met. Yeah.
Yeah. So how were you able to navigate through all these different, I guess, different types of, you know, businesses or different types of industries? How are you able to make yourself known in various different, you know, channels, basically?
I tell people, I go, you got to be a chameleon.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but that's not being fake. That's
right.
That's being able to talk to. I tell people, I go, I can talk to whether you're 8 or 80, whether you went to Harvard or you're good. You know, I remember when I was on set with The Realist and Ray J, and I'm talking to some, you know, the Crips and the Bloods, and that we're chopping it up, you know. And I'll never forget this one dude. His name was Tiny, and he was a huge dude, right? He gave me a big old hug. He's like, Ramon, man, it was like I was supposed to meet you. And I said, it was, Tiny. It was. Yeah. And so, we talked about.
I know you're talking about. You was Tiny, the actor that just passed. Is that you?
No. He was a big, like, he was a gangster dude.
No, that's who that not the guy from the movies, right? Tiny.
No, not him.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
Talking about Debo.
Yeah, no. This was like a real gangster, like, like whatever you need. I was like, I'm good.
Right.
So it's just a matter of, you know, like, I know how to, again, I guess it just comes with me talking to people as far as, you know, whether you're corporate, you know, I know how to put on a suit and hide my tattoos and, you know, but still be me.
Absolutely.
Right? Because I put on a suit, I don't change who I am. I just, you know, it's a different conversation that we have, you know.
Sure.
So that's why everybody always does ask that question of, you know, how do you get all these different, you know, genres, or what is the specialty? And I go, whatever my clients want. I said that because I love doing it. You know, it's not, I don't want to be stuck, just be, you know, a wedding photographer.
Right.
And that's all I do. Right.
You do it all.
Corporate events, right?
Yeah.
Because you take a wedding photographer and you tell him to go shoot a hip hop concert, he's not going to know what to do. Right. And so I met some really known photographers out there, and they're like, man, I wish I was doing what you're doing. And I'm like, what? You're on National Geographic.
Yeah.
You know, like, they said, but you get to be personal with these people.
That's true.
You become friends with these people. Like, you know, I got to shout out Guy Torrey today because he's a friend of mine, right? Comedian.
Yeah. I know he is. Yeah, definitely.
He was on Wendy today. And so I texted him. I was like, hey, man, I saw you on Wendy. And then I was like, man, I'm texting him. He probably doesn't even know who it is, right? And I was like, hey, it's Ramon, by the way. He said, fool, I got you locked in. He's like, I know who this is. I was like, oh.
Oh, man. But that's, and what you said, it goes back to like what I've seen. You know, with your work, there seems to be like a rapport there, even in the video shout outs that I've seen that you've posted. All these messages, like, from people, like, they seem, you know, they're genuine. They're coming from a genuine place, and it's like they're friends with you before you're even their photographer, or before they're, you know, getting services from you or anything like that. It's just like they respect you as a person and what you're doing. You can tell in the messages. So that goes back to what you're saying, just in building that rapport with people, and even going back to those days, you know, at Best Buy, like you said, and getting to practice that every day. So when you were in front of people where you had to use all these skills, you know, it worked out to your benefit, and you were ready for the opportunities. Yeah,
because I talked to a lot of people at Best Buy. So talking to all these people, now I knew what to say.
Right.
And let's not gloss over the fact that, you know, by you shooting these celebs, it was, you know, posting it on your MySpace at the time, you know, it was giving you social proof.
Yeah.
You know? And so like once the layman, the regular person sees you're shooting Ice Cube and Snoop Dogg, it's like, oh, I think this guy knows how to shoot some photography. You know,
Yeah.
so that's a huge asset, you know, to you. Had you started in wedding photography and gone the other way around, it might have been more challenging, perhaps.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it would have. I think it would have.
Yeah.
Then I didn't start shooting video until I met EA Ski.
Okay. Oh, you're one of my favorites. One of my favorite producers, you know, from the Bay Area. So yeah.
A huge shout out to EA Ski, man. I'll never forget. I hit him up on Twitter. This how I hit him up on Twitter. I said, hey, when you want to do something epic, hit me. Here's my number.
That's all you said?
He's gonna call me, right?
Right.
He calls me.
Wow.
I'm like, hello? And he's like, yeah, what's up? It's EA Ski. And I'm like, hey. He goes, I just got your message. What's up? What you want to do? And I'm like,
just like that.
Wow. So he took a chance, right? He didn't know who I was, didn't know anything about me, and he took a chance. And the first video we shot was Amnesia. So you could check that out on YouTube and everything. And that was a long project that we worked on, right? My first video, I shot it on the 5D Mark II. I didn't have the gimbal. There was a lot of equipment that I did not have, lighting, you know, pretty much, right? But I didn't know how to edit videos at the time, nothing. I just knew how to shoot, right? Because again, it was an art form to me. So he gives me the opportunity and we film Amnesia. And I keep having these ideas and, hey, what if we do this? Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. You know, it was a long process. It was a very long process that we did. But the end result, you know, he sent it to one of his editors that he had. And she was from Canada and she won 7 film awards. She got my footage and she said, Ramon, this footage is amazing. Wow. Like to hear that from somebody who's in the industry, tell me that, I was like, wow. Because I was still like, I don't even know what the settings or, you know, I just did it, you know.
Wow.
What I said before about when preparation meets opportunity, forget it.
Right?
You got lucky right there.
Hey, you know, I always say though, I don't believe in luck. If it's supposed to happen. If you're supposed to win the lottery, you're supposed to win the lottery.
Yeah.
I don't believe in luck. I'm like, when people tell me good luck, I'm like, how about I wish you the best? They're like, okay, I like that, you know.
Right. But so taking everything that you said so far, all of these, you know, opportunities that came up that you were ready for, what would you tell, or what's the best advice that you would give to, say, like that photographer that hasn't started yet, or maybe that's scared to put their work out there, or that hasn't fully embraced that passion yet? What will be the advice that you would offer somebody looking to get started?
Practice. Practice every day. I don't care if you have a 9-to-5 job. After that 9-to-5 job, practice. Do what you love doing. You know, don't quit your day job because you still need money coming in.
Yeah.
A lot of people just say, well, I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to go do this full time. It doesn't work like that because guess what? You still got bills coming in.
For sure.
You still got, you know, house payment, car payment, whatever you have stuff coming in. So I say, you know, go do the job that makes good money, right? But instead of coming home and watching Netflix for 4 hours, practice with your camera, study, you know. At the time, I didn't have, you know, anybody to really help me. You know, I had YouTube, but I really didn't. I read a lot, read a lot of books. Now, you know, it's YouTube, you know, so I tell people, I go, if you, Ramon, you know, and I get all these questions all the time. Ramon, I just got a camera. How do I use it? And I'm like, okay, what kind of camera did you get? Okay, this, you know, or they ask me recommendations. What kind of camera do you shoot with? And I'm like, I'm all Sony now. I was Canon, but I'm all Sony now, and I have a Blackmagic 6K cinema camera now. But continue to practice, stay focused, right? Because so many people lose focus, you know, and be determined, right? Because you're not gonna get it right off the bat. You know, you're not gonna get a major client right off the bat. You might,
right?
You know, but there's gonna be times where you're not gonna get that, and you got to work hard, you know, and get the gear.
So just be ready. Yeah.
Save the money and get the gear. Invest in yourself. If you're like, you know what, I want to do photography or I want to be a director, do it. You know, get that gear. Study. You know, unfortunately, I didn't go to school for none of this. You know, I went to school. I have my degree in computer graphics, but again, this was just another art form.
Right.
But, you know, now I have, you know, I have about 3 mentors that they're known, and I could call them up and ask them questions. You know, one of them shoots TI videos, another one shoots Rick Ross, another one shoots he shot a video with DMX. Like,
wow.
And I get to call these guys and then say, hey, and one of them's a really good friend of mine. And he's out in LA. And you know, he's the one that got me editing to where I'm, you know, I had editors before doing my videos where I'm doing it all now.
Okay. So it goes back to just keep learning your craft, keep studying, and keep being, you know, ready for what's going on. So I definitely think
never give up. Never give up. You know, there's times that I was gonna give up, you know, and I tell people, I go, it's not jump off a bridge, give up. I said, I don't want you to think that. I go, it's give up because of this industry, you know. The entertainment industry is a crazy industry.
Yeah.
And it's a hard industry to you know, to be in. It's a hard industry to keep networking, you know. It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. It's so fast paced. I know you live out in LA out there, and I was out there for Super Bowl weekend, and those 2 days felt like a whole week for me.
For sure.
Go back, give us an idea when you felt pre-COVID here, right? Because we're about to explore what happens. Before COVID, how would you describe the pinnacle of your business, the pinnacle of your game? You know, what was that activity like? What was your life like during that time?
You know, ironically, it was a roller coaster of a ride. I'd have good months. I've had bad months. And it was a really roller coaster of a ride. Then, okay, now the pandemic hit, right? I got busier, which sounds really weird, right? But I got busier.
But at first, wasn't there an initial reaction to your business at first, perhaps? Like, you know, when we're looking in stores and bread, the aisles of bread are gone and meat's gone. I know you guys are vegan, so that doesn't hurt you, but toilet paper's gone. I think that affected all of us. Wasn't there a moment of pause? I mean, was it instantaneous? Your business just suddenly got better, or?
It was actually because the corporate accounts that I had, they said, hey, Ramon, can you shoot videos? Because we need to follow the CDC guidelines. And we need to
okay.
Instant. I was like, wow, right?
There you go again. Luck and preparation equals luck. There you go.
But it did get me to, that's when I started editing. I mean, videos. That's when I started doing the video editing. That pushed me, because I said, okay, you know what? I'm not going to depend on anybody anymore. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to make it happen. And I was studying. I'm like a little hermit crab. Like today, I've been editing all day. I didn't even eat breakfast, nothing today, because I was just in that zone.
Right.
I'm like, oh man, I hope my stomach don't grow on this podcast.
That's a while. So how did I guess, because we've talked about the music, the entertainment industry. How did you start getting like these corporate accounts or just accounts, not even accounts, but just regular people and families, wanting to use your services for weddings or for just family photo shoots and things like that? How did that start generating on that end?
Word of mouth.
Mhm.
So a friend of mine that I used to work with, because I was always into sales. So I did inside sales, outside sales, and a
Mhm.
good friend of mine, Chris Massey, wherever he went, I went. He brought me because he knew
Right.
I know what you're capable of doing. He goes, I know what you're capable of doing. Come with me. So then I would get, not only am I doing the sales, they're like, Ramon, you do photography? And I'm like, oh yeah. So then I'd get that corporate business.
I
And then
see.
they would tell somebody else. And then just like the photo casino, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
I got them, I built their website and I had an idea for them. I said, hey, because they were just going to do the casino thing.
Hmm.
And I said, it'd be really cool if you threw a photographer in the mix. They changed their business plan because of the idea that I had for them.
Oh, okay. I
They
see.
they bought me my 5D Mark II.
Oh,
So this
wow.
is way back, right? Because I also barter because I go, you know what? I don't mind barter. If it's equipment. So I designed their website. They took me to the camera store. They said, "What did you need?" I was like, "That, and that."
Wow, that's
So
dope, man.
so a lot of it's word of mouth. I'm still old school.
Business cards.
Hey,
Yep.
wait, what's that?
Yeah.
Everybody, nowadays, oh, follow me on TikTok, follow me on Instagram, follow me. I'm like, here's my business card.
Yeah.
And this, I kid you not, like my newest business card, I put me on the front of it, and I'm just doing this, right?
Hmm.
My friend took a picture of me like that, so I was like, hey, you know what, that's kind of cool. I'm gonna do that. So I put that on the front, and on the back of the business card, I put a friend of mine who passed away, and I'm like, it's a conversation piece now,
Yeah.
because now every time I pass that card out, it's like, who's this tatted up dude in the back, And
Hmm.
that was a friend of mine. I said he passed away. He was a music artist, and I kind of keep his legacy alive with that.
Gotcha.
I want to share something with you guys real quick. I have this. So Tracks a Million, right?
Yeah. From San
Uh,
Jose. That's where I'm from. Yeah.
Good friend of mine. Known him for so long. Went to his funeral,
Hmm.
and that was hard. That was hard for me.
Yeah.
When I called, well, I got invited because it was like a private event, and
Hmm.
so they called me up, and I was like, PK, this is his manager, and I said, hey, do you want me to film it? And he was like, if you want, it's up to you. And I was like, yeah, you know what? Trax would have wanted me to.
Yeah.
So I did. I went and filmed it. The footage is not out yet. I have all this footage, but the program that they did, they used my pictures.
Oh, wow.
So like,
Man.
that's one of my pictures right there.
Damn,
And
that's a dope picture.
I felt so honored that when I opened up this, there's a lot of my photos on this thing.
Hmm.
And that just, it spoke volume to me. Like even this one right here, I don't know if you guys can see it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I can.
But a
No,
lot,
he's a San Jose legend, and rest in peace to him. I know that was sad.
yeah, a lot of those images are mine. And that,
Hmm.
again, you can't put, there's no money on this right here, man.
Right. Absolutely not.
That,
Absolutely not.
when I went to DJ Crazy Tune's funeral, and the first three pictures that popped up when they showed the slideshow were my pictures.
Wow.
And I'm like, I felt honored. Like,
Yeah.
you have all these pictures of your brother, and the first pictures you show are three that I shot. Wow.
Yeah.
So it you know, it goes to show you that you got to put heart into what you do, you know.
Right.
And I don't care if I'm, you know, it doesn't matter if you're a celebrity, you know, and I tell people that I treat everybody like a celebrity. I said, the one thing I do is if it's an event or it's your birthday party or I'm shooting a wedding, I keep it private.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to share it, that's up to you, but I'm not going to share it. So you won't see a lot of corporate stuff on my Instagram. You won't see that. That's hidden. You know, weddings, hidden. You know, some of the celebrity stuff that I've done, hidden. You won't see it.
And I think that's a very important message, because a lot of the times when we see people, you know, in film or photography and things like that, a lot of what they're doing, the first thing they do is go and post it. I mean, which is understandable. They're excited about it. Oh, check out this. And it'll be like some behind the scenes footage, or it'll be at somebody's wedding, or it'll be a music video or whatever. You see, you know, this behind the scenes stuff. And it's like, hey, look at this event, or, you know, look at what I did. But it goes back to the point of building that rapport with people. I'm sure people respect that. You know, this is up to you. I'm going to keep this private. It's more of a professional, you know, impersonal vibe that you're putting out there for people to be more comfortable with you, I guess, was what I would say. And then any other photographer looking to kind of get into the business, that's an important gem to keep in mind, is just, you know, put the people first.
And that's another thing. Don't always, like when you're at your shoot, focus on your shoot and don't focus on, I got to put this on IG Live.
Yeah.
Don't focus on, oh, I gotta post this. Don't focus on that. When I shot the game, nobody knew I was gonna go shoot the game.
Mm-hmm.
The only people that knew I was gonna go shoot the game was a cousin of mine who went with me, and I hired this kid he had his monitor and he tethered it, and that's what I hired. That was his job, right? He started trying to post it, and I went off. That's when my Puerto Rican came out. I went off on this kid, man. I was like, "What are you doing, dude?" I go, "No." I go, I said a lot more than no, but
Sure.
I'm sure this is the edited version.
We're gonna keep the PG.
No, absolutely.
You don't have to always show what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, this is probably some of the best advice right here, is that do it like a chess game, right? You don't know that next move until you say checkmate or
right.
Number, right? You don't know. And that's how I am. I'm like, I don't want you to see what I'm doing. I want you to see the end result. Because then I could put the behind the scenes out.
Exactly.
Out, right? When I shot the game, nobody knew I was gonna go shoot them. The day that I was there, I said, after the shoot, I said, "Hey, gang, is it cool?" Actually, it was during the shoot because it was a 10-hour shoot. Mm-hmm. We had real wolves on set too. It was the coolest thing.
Wow, really?
The trainers and the wolves came, and I had my camera like this, right? I had my camera up here, and then they go, "Are you the photographer?" And I backed up, and I'm looking at the wolves, right?
They're real wolves.
Did they eat? They start laughing. They're like dogs. They're like scared of you. And I was like, I don't know. Can they smell fear? And they said, I let it smell me, and man, became friends with that wolf, right?
That's crazy.
And
I want to, go ahead.
So I asked the game, I go, "Hey, game, is it cool? I didn't let nobody know that I was shooting you. Is it okay if I say something now?" Mm-hmm. And I can't say what he said because you'll have to beep it out. But can you beep it out?
Or we're usually unfiltered. We've had some, you know, guests, and we're unfiltered here, so go for it.
He said, "I don't care if you say you fucked my girl. You can do whatever you want." I was like,
you made a point there.
Oh man. But I want to go back to something that you said real quick, because I think that's important too. You know, I went to school myself for business, and that's one of the first things you hear and first things people preach is don't always talk about what you're doing. Like, if you're gonna talk about it or post it or even tell people about something, you want to have it's done already. You want to talk about things that are done already, and not while you're in the process of doing it. I think that's very important, and that helps protect you know, your idea and what you're doing, and it just allows you to focus better on it when you're focusing on the end result and not the progress you're making and showing it off to people during the progress.
I I agree so much. I
Mm-hmm.
used to be that guy when I was younger
Mm-hmm.
and tell everybody everything.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, guess what I'm going to work on? I'm going to work on this, right? And then guess what? It didn't happen.
Right, and that's easy to do when you're excited. You know, you want to share it, you know, with your loved ones and your friends and things like that. But it's that's a very important message though, to just because it makes you, you know, focus on it when you're not talking about it. You tell yourself, I'm not going to talk about it till it's done. It kind of gives you that extra drive and that extra, you know, it gives you that adrenaline rush. Like, I got to do this now. I told myself I'm not going to talk about it, so I have to do it so I can talk about it.
Yeah.
You don't want to talk about things and then, like you said, them not happening and things like that. So that's another thing I want, you know, the audience to take away from as well. If they have a passion, whether it's in, you know, photography or any other industry, have something you could put out first, and don't necessarily get caught up in documenting, you know, the progress of it until you have something with an end result that you can share.
And oh, here's another good thing. Don't worry about a like or a share.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry about those things. If your client is 100% happy and loves what you did for them, I don't care if, like, again, this applies to anything. If you're
Mm-hmm.
chef, if you're auto mechanic, whatever, it's not about a like and a share. You know, I know nowadays everything's social media driven and everything, you know, but you could be successful and have 10 followers.
Right.
Yeah. Wow.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
You kind of made your career, and I did too. So that's why I'm before it was kind of like a mandate that you had to have portfolios on social media.
yeah.
So yeah, you can have 10 followers and have a career. Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm excited to see your work. Because it told me where you are and what you do. I'm like, and you want me on the show?
Man, you know,
Might as well just wear a ski mask, you know?
whatever, man. Whatever, man.
But
Nah.
it's but I'll let you go, Aaron. But I just want to say, and it's, you know, us just doing this show is a result of the pandemic, because, you know, we both had our own things going on, and you know, the pandemic caused some hardships in both of our lives. You know, the department where I was working at a flying car company, so going to work every day was like watching the Jetsons, like literally. And then that whole and you know, my position was very customer, you know, facing, and I was pilot training and things like that. And you know, there wasn't a way to do that remotely, like with our business model and things we were doing. There wasn't really a way to, hey, come fly a flying car, but let us teach you remotely. Like, it doesn't really work that way, you know. So and then, you know, a bunch of other factors as well. And then, you know, they had to figure, like, is there even going to be a market for this with this pandemic before there was like even an ending in sight, or anything like that. So that unfortunately had shut down. And I know some of the work that Aaron was doing had pretty much slowed down, and it kind of led us to this point where we're at now, because we became like financial professionals during the pandemic. Like, we got our licenses through the state, like we studied, and that's something, you know, we do, is we help people building retirement portfolios, and we help people use, you know, their finances to their advantage, like, you know, tax-free strategies and things like that we now know about, that we didn't grow up learning at all. And then, you know, we were able to start businesses in that industry, you know, while Aaron was waiting, you know, for some entertainment, you know, gigs to pick back up. But we were able to start businesses in that industry. And it didn't come from, like you said, it didn't come from, oh, you can make a lot of money doing this. It came from us genuinely wanting to help people and help our families, and like people where we come from in our communities, they're not financially aware and how to make money work for them. And then, you know, this pandemic, we're in a time where people lost a lot. They lost jobs, they lost money, they had to take out 401ks, and now they don't have retirements anymore, like just things they had to do to survive. And then we just started thinking, like, we were able to start businesses and get our licenses for, a couple $100s. Like, we could teach people how to do the same, and start this platform to have conversations with other people that are doing the same thing, but just in other industries. So, like, example, like with you with the photography, just practice. You got a phone nowadays. You can practice on a phone. That's not going to cost you anything. Like, and just build that skill set up and build some rapport with people.
Yep.
But sorry, Aaron, I know you were gonna say something there.
I don't know if I was. Oh, you said what have I been doing? Something.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. So, Kyle can attest to this. I came to LA in 2005, and before that I was in New York in 2000 to 2005. I've never been super flashy. I've been very tight-lipped about my work in the industry. Kyle's like one of the only family that, I don't know. I feel like you've been to a studio with me at least once.
Yeah.
You've been to like, he's been to parties with me, but getting into the industry in New York, it's really fashion based.
Okay.
I got to work on some of the cool music videos back when they had nice budgets, in the early 2000s, kind of the end of that, So I got to work on some of that stuff. But for me, the focus was mostly fashion. And I would get hired to shoot behind the scenes for like photographers that were producers that were putting images in Cosmo, Allure, 17, all those hair and beauty type magazines.
Yeah.
So I was doing a lot of casting in that realm. I was doing a lot of behind the scenes video in that realm. And then I got into, models kept coming in. And here's the thing for me, like, of course I knew Wu-Tang. I was a big Wu-Tang Clan person, old dirty bastard, Ghostface Killer. I played that. That was on the repeat, but for me, I was working with models at the top of the industry that I can't even pronounce their names. Because it's some Russian name or something, so I couldn't even tell you. So I mean, I remember I had a Paris Hilton got a job one day when she came into the studio, and
nice.
I have a few of those things, but I couldn't name the first one because I can't even think of what it was. but over the years, I just kind of it's like word of mouth. People see or they hear that you do this and that, and I probably work with over 200 different casting companies. And I did the show. I cast all the models. That show Making the Cut on Amazon Prime with Heidi Klum and Tim Gunn. The first season, me and my partner did. We cast all those runway models for that in North America. They cast girls in Tokyo and Paris as well, but we did all the girls from North America. And really just have built up a portfolio on the modeling side versus the music artist side. And girls kept asking, well, do you shoot pictures too? For years, to be honest with you, I always just turned it down because I didn't want it, just like you didn't want to learn Adobe Premiere or Final Cut or whatever. I didn't want to learn Photoshop. I'm like, man, get this, bro. I don't want to spend 2 years learning another software. I know enough software. Here I am, late 20s, and me talking like that already, The gall, I got another 40, 50 years in work, and so I got into photography. That led to management, started doing model management, and then got a unique opportunity to work with Hollywood Weekly magazine. So now I'm the director of talent for them, and I help procure talent to be in the magazine, work with advertisers, and so on and so forth. So, but I still dabble in everything. I still have clients. I'm expanding. I'm starting to manage directors,
Okay.
music artists. I still, it's like you said, you still can't put all your eggs in one
Yep.
basket. You know what I mean?
I have you manage me.
Hey, brother, with the clientele you got, we might have to talk.
No, yes, we do, because there's times that I'm like, I can't do it all. Like, I'm trying to sell myself. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to, like, look what I shot, look what I did, and it's like,
Yeah.
I just want to go like this. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. I get it.
I'm like, that's the part that if you don't have the business mindset,
Yeah.
you're not going to go far.
You're not.
You're not. And I could also use you for casting on models, because I got some things coming up that I'm like, we're gonna talk.
Yeah, Aaron. Hey, if it's cool, Aaron, I'll text Ramon your information. So for anybody viewing this episode and interested in in your services, Ramon, where can they find you? Because your IG is fire, and I think it tells a good story about what you've been up to.
Thank you. R54 photos. So R54. So the number 5, the number 4, and then photos. So R54 photos. A lot of people don't know why it's called R54. Remember how I said, is he RTD2's cousin?
Right. I was gonna ask you that. Yeah.
Yeah. So Ramon, obviously, right? 54 because there's 54 cards in a deck. So a magician for over 30 years. So
wait, you're a magician? What the heck? I learn something new every day. I was like, wait, did I just hear that right?
Dude, that's great for building rapport with people.
Absolutely.
Dude, that's the magic trick right there.
So that's luck. Like you do this, right? So you take a ring and you do this.
What the heck? It even works on Zoom.
Dude,
that's wild.
Dope.
So that's another little secret that I have is that I do a magic trick, right? Now your mind's like, whoa, wait up. He just disappear. He made my ring disappear. Now you're open to say, or you're open to what I'm gonna tell you now. Right?
Right. Right.
So we could shoot your music video. Oh, hey, hold on. Did I have to tell you I was a magician? And then do a trick, and then be like, so what was your budget? And they're gonna be thinking about that magic trick. They're gonna be like, Ramon, what you need?
Right. No, even right now when you said that, I'm like, wait, what? Now I'm thinking about that. Magic tricks and stuff like that. That's dope, man.
So yeah. So and then my full name though is Ramon. So it's Ramon, and then my name is Piquero. If you Google my real name, Blueface pictures pop up.
Oh, what?
So I had to rebrand my business cards to say my name, because it's on rollingstone.com, images that I shot of him. Complex. And they put Ramon Piquero, aka R54 photos, or R54.
Oh, so that's why they all pop up. I see.
Yeah. So I didn't know that until I was like, I'm gonna search my name real fast.
Right.
And I'm like, whoa, all these Blueface pictures are popping up. 5 million people have seen his image. Oh, I need to change my business card.
Yeah, that's important.
So so I start telling people like, oh, what do you go by R? And I'm like, Ramon Piquero. I'm like, that's the government name.
Right, exactly. No, this has been dope, man. Thanks for coming on and sharing everything. I'm glad that you two are going to be able to hopefully connect after this. as well. I know you guys have similar things going on and similar backgrounds, so I think you guys will be able to help each other out too.
I can't wait to chop it up with you offline, Aaron.
Me neither, bro. I know we just got the tip of the iceberg.
You son of a.
No, for sure.
You guys want to see a sneak peek of a video that is not out yet?
Yeah, boy.
Oh yeah.
All right, hold on.
Self-nominated exclusive.
We gotta go to the Bat Cave real quick. Hold on.
Look at this.
All right. So let me see how I turn around this.
All right.
All right, here we go. All right, this is a wedding I'm doing. Let's see here. I have tons of 8 terabytes.
Wait. I'm gonna make your video front and center.
Okay.
So that we can see it better. Okay.
All right, here we go.
To the dirty section, my couple gets off into the like a so it's a watching me miss the latest scripts I ever heard. It's mistaken that this, but the first time my own business, I just say very well. 2-6 shooters on my hit, make body swell. Never gonna speak your mouth, got that spells danger. Medium astronomer, psycho ranger. Racer, play to the jugular. Strangler, yes, I'm done stranger. Never watch the show because maybe I'm an alien. Only does that pain again. No type is great again. Used to, don't, past tense, no go. Used to knock your niggas off, fucking around and dig a bit. If this is what you want, motherfucker, you can have it. And I'm like, you motherfuckers don't be fucking around. Or it's a bitch. 1 bullet, 2 bullet, 3 bullet. Oh, it's a bullet. 1 bullet.
Dude, that's sick. I like all the effects in there too.
Thank you.
Bravo.
You said it's not even out yet?
No, not out yet.
Oh, I can't wait to see the full thing.
Wow.
Bro, those are dope visuals, man.
That's dope.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, I like the effects on it and everything.
That's my fucking dragon bitch riding through the sky and burning it all up. Super crazy.
But yeah, man. No, this has been dope. Just talking and everything. And
Guys, man,
this is exciting. No, I'm excited to have that Ramon was on the show and everything. And this is just the beginning. And this just goes back to what we're talking about. Like Aaron and I had just a vision and a passion, for what we're doing, and we're sticking to it. And we just want people to share their stories to help inspire others that want to be, more than what they might be right now through their passions. And just recognizing the skills it takes to get there. Definitely some good takeaways here.
Definitely. And I want to do a photo shoot for you and your family. So.
Oh man, are you serious?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I'll let Selena know.
On the show and everything, man. I gotta come on now.
Oh man, I appreciate that. No, that means a lot. I'll tell my wife when I get back in the house. When I get out of this man cave podcast studio. Definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, appreciate you. Thank you for having me on, man.
Man, no, thank you for your time. I appreciate that.
Got me a break from editing too, so it was good.
There you go. See, like a little lunch break,
Exactly.
Thank you, Ramon.
Yeah, thank you, man.